So this is how I edited this photo in super harsh sunlight. So this is the original. Super dark. I definitely underexpose. I know my camera well, especially in this sunlight. I really did wanted to keep the details in the background because it's absolutely stunning. So what I did and what I always do, hold on, is I so this is my preset I saved based on small um O1. I did this a while ago, so I have no idea what's different from the original small, but these are my usual settings. Um, Try to go slow enough so maybe you can see what's different. So there's that. So what I did was, of course, up the exposure, shadows all the way to 100. And that's why I underexpose the subjects or the couple because I know I can just bring up the shadows in them pretty easily. And let's see, brighten it, maybe a little more contrast. Um, I'll show you how to up the shadows even more in a second. But I think this is basically it in Lightroom. And I was like, oh, I'll call it a day. But then I saw this like little light leak. And I was like, oh, that's really pretty. So I brought it up to Photoshop. I just did this a second ago. So it might already be there. Okay. So I added a sun flare here. I use just like a sun flare, generic sun flare I got somewhere. Um, but what was I going to do? Oh, from here, I think that was it. And I removed all the bushes on the side. I The only thing I kept was a rock and this and the pine cone because pine cone's very Tahoe and I love it. And it's only one and it's a little distracting, but I just wanted to keep it in because pine cones. I love pine cones. And I think that's all I did. So wait, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, so this is kind of like the light leak and this. Um, so when I save it into Lightroom, there it is. What you can do is you can up the shadows a little more because at least for my settings, when I save it from Photoshop to Lightroom, it saves as a JPEG or like the TIFF version. Yeah, TIFF. So it kind of resets all the settings so I can manipulate it a little more than what I could before. So, um, yeah, that's what I did. But more importantly than like editing, because it is just easy to like as easy as lifting up shadows, but you have to make sure that the shadows on their face and as much on their body is even because um so you do that by having the sun like right behind them. So you kind of have to just like look at their face and be like, okay, are you completely in the shadow? And or I mean, you could face them directly in the sun, but I don't like that because you have to squint their eyes and it's bright for them, and I still don't think it's a flattering look. So just put them completely in the shadow. And you can do that and you can also do that by having their face really close together. Um, see, like this too. This was them directly in the behind too. Can't really find one right now, but so cute. Um, yeah, so if you can't angle them the right way, like, maybe the background you want is where the sun is, you could smush their face together, and kind of just like they can be each other's shadows. Um, so I do that sometimes too. You can see the sun was getting really hazy, almost to sunset. But I think those are the tips I have for harsh sunlight. It's pretty simple, but I got lucky because the lake was where it was positioned. If it was on the other side, I would have been like, sorry guys, the entire time. Most of our photos are going to be with the road in the back, or something like that. So, or, find a tree to go filter the light. But yeah, those are my tips in editing, how I did it. I hope it was helpful.